Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 170 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on July 11th, 2023. How are all you wonderful folks doing on this fine summer day? It's 7-Eleven today. That's funny. Yeah, that's a convenience store joke. Yeah, for those of you just waking up. Come on. Yeah, you got to go with me here. No, I hope you folks are doing well. I just got finished with a quick workout here. PEW Science is pretty busy right now with testing and analysis, member emails, stuff like that. If you have sent me an email, I am working through a bit of a backlog. Yeah, so there's a bit of a backlog right now. So thank you for your patience. I do appreciate it. I'll get to you shortly. I do promise. Also, new PEW Science members, same to you. There's a little bit of a backlog with the welcome emails, so please be patient with that. I'll get to you folks as well. All right. I have some good topics, I think, on today's schedule for you. We're going to hit listener questions again. Yeah, so that's 2 times in a row. That's crazy. Right? I feel like I have to make more of a dent. I need to do more of them more often. So here we are. Okay, that's kind of where we are in that. Also, we have a new sound signature review coming this week, actually very soon. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And finally, I want to give a big thank you to all of you members everywhere that are listening, and even those that are not, for making this effort happen. And there's actually some pretty big news recently. 4 new corporate supporters of the effort joined. So I would like to welcome those 4 entities, and we'll hit that today as well. Okay. So all that and more on today's episode. That's right. But first, a word about some companies that directly sponsor this podcast every week. The lifeblood of the podcast is fueled by them. And so I would like to tell you about those folks now. The first company to speak about is a podcast sponsor named Legion Athletics. That's right. They are a supplement company that is online, and they approached me, and they know that I use a lot of different sports supplements to supplement my lifting and things like that I do, and I think it's a good relationship that's developing here. They're also into guns, and so here we are. I'm a pretty firm believer in physical activity, a sound mind and a sound body. And I do think that's very important. I think that strength sports are important, cycling and martial arts, any activity that is expressing the beauty of human strength is something I'm into. And I think that no matter what your age or your stage in life, I think it's important for you to participate in those activities for your health. And it does mean, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people have different types of lives. And when you're busy, you need a lot of help, maybe with your motivation, maybe with your organization to be able to fit them in. And sometimes you even need help with supplementation for nutrients you might not get from food. Maybe you want some things to help you recover more, things like that. Just not everyone has time to cook a gourmet meal all the time, So being consistent, recovering well from your workouts, that's what you want, right? And I think Legion Athletics can help you with that. And they help me, actually. They have whey protein. They got pre-workout. They got post-workout. They have a lot of different things, vitamins and minerals, things like that. And I wouldn't say they have everything you need, but they have quite a bit. They have quite a bit, okay? And if you visit legionathletics.com, there is a link in the show notes for that. You can use code word PEW Science to save 20% off your first order, which is pretty crazy because, if you keep using that code, even after your first order, every time you order, you get double loyalty points, which nets you 10% off everything you buy after that too, which is pretty cool. And I actually misspoke the last podcast. Someone asked what pre-workout I used, and I said I used the Surge. That's not what I use. It's called Pulse. The Surge is the performance surge stuff I use from the intro workout. That's different. Okay, and I'm sure I some of you probably caught that I misspoke on that, but I hope that clarifies things. If you go to the website and you can find it. Okay, they have a stimulant free version if you're not into caffeine, and some people actually take 1 scoop of the stimulant normal version of Pulse, and then they take the stimulant free, and they mix it up. It can be a tool as well. I can tell you right now that I'm actually on 2 scoops of the normal stuff from earlier today because I just worked out. It's just, here we are. Okay. The next company I would like to highlight is another sponsor of this podcast. Some folks that are really, really huge supporters of the effort, and that's Top Gun Range Houston. All right. They have the largest firearm rental fleet in the state of Texas, and they got a 15-lane indoor shooting range. We did an event there. We're going to do another one. You can rent pistols, rifles, shotguns. You can rent machine guns. It's pretty cool. Okay, if you're into guns and you want to try it before you buy it, for example, things like that, they have a really large selection. You can even take some friends there that are new to shooting, introduce them to firearm safety. And to target shooting, right there, get the fundamentals started. We'll talk about one of the new corporate members of PEW Science later on this episode. But along the same vein, these indoor ranges like that can be very, very convenient for folks in metropolitan areas. So I do urge you to check them out. I've been there. It's a good, high quality range. It's safe. You can check out their whole rental inventory at topgunrange.com, and you can find them on Instagram at topgunrange. All right, so check them out. There's another company I would like to highlight that supports PEW Science, and they are High-End Armament Technologies, HEAT. All right, they are a little bit of a unique dealer. They have a pretty long tenure in the machine gun game, the NFA game. Infrared sighting systems, night vision, thermal, exotic guns, rare guns, expensive guns, crazy guns. And so, the guy who owns it, name's Robert. He's a pretty sweet dude. He's awesome. He really is. And if there's something you can't find or something you have a hankering for, it's pretty rare, or you're looking for something wild that you don't think you can necessarily get, chances are, if there's someone who can get it, it's Robert. Okay. So check him out at highendarms.com, on Instagram at highendarms, and they even have a Facebook page, which you guessed it, is High End Arms. All right. I hope they can help you. If you need them to, please tell them Jay sent you if you do go there, okay? Or hit up Robert. Also, the Jay Situation podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop, the largest distributor of silencers in the world. When you really think about it, when you do the math, right? North America, the United States, who sells silencers? Yeah, they're the biggest. So you can use their kiosk. You can do your fingerprints and photos electronically. And in turn, you cut down on errors, you simplify your silencer purchasing process, you get a money-back guarantee. It's pretty good. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. And if you see those folks around, tell them what's up. Tell them thanks for supporting PEW Science. It'll mean a lot. Check out the show notes. In addition to the Legion thing, there's all the other codes like True Shot Gun Club out of Arizona. If you're looking for blasting ammo, they're a pretty good place to call because you can use code PEW Science for $20 off that free shipping club they have. Also Magpul PSTEN, that's PS10 for $10 off your order, $100 or more when you're stocking up on mags like a lunatic. So do that. And I will say finally, before I get into the rest of the podcast, remember everything I do here on this podcast, it's all made possible by the most important entity that I'll ever speak about, and that's PEW Science. Okay, we're pushing the silencer industry forward one test at a time. It is the most important thing in this entire effort. Okay, visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It is the simplest and most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms. It is based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot from before combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone. It's very important you understand that. All right, it's very accurate. It's very high fidelity. It's very unique. PEW Science is the home of the silencer sound standard. There are 7 sections, and it is the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis on the planet. All right, check it out on pewscience.com. That's right. And you can support this podcast yourself directly, of course, and support PEW Science directly, of course, all the testing that I do by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. You can do that. That would help a lot. And you know what? If you're not into that, that's okay. There's a donate feature on the review page, on the podcast page. Every little bit helps. And if you're not into spending money, which in this economy, I understand, something that's free, doesn't cost you anything other than what you're already doing, listening to this podcast, give it a good 5-star rating on iTunes, Spotify, things like that. It'll let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome. We can normalize the use of suppressed small arms, and it is going to work worldwide. It's already working. Thank you. Okay, we made it through the ads. 3 topics for you today. Topic 1, listener questions. They're back. That's right, they're back again. More of your queries are addressed from the 5th solicitation in this official topic. We're catching up. We are. So that's good. I'm glad to have time to do this. I'm very excited. It will be great. Topic 2, new sound signature review this week. You betcha. Yeah. The database grows. Performance limits are tested. It is a great time to be into silencers, and won't you join me on this journey? Well, address some foreshadowing into today's research, or this week's research. And then topic 3, like I said in the intro here, really huge thanks to all the supporters of PEW Science. And in addition to the wonderful consumer members, the research cooperative has awesome corporate support, which is a huge deal, obviously. And I just want to give a big PEW Science welcome to actually 4 new corporate members: Champion Firearms, PTR Industries, the Cody Firearms Museum, and Battle Hawk Armory. Oh my goodness gracious, that's right, 4. Count them, 4. That's wild. All right, we'll do that today. Topic 1 at a time of 11 minutes and 13 seconds. Oh man, I missed 11:11. That would have been weird. Topic 1, listener questions are back. That's right, more of your queries from the 5th solicitation. I'm going to catch up if it kills me. 1 second, I'll get a drink of water here. I got to finish this thing. It's like, dang, man, you guys ask so many questions, which is really awesome. But at the same time, it's like, oh, my God. Okay, last time on listen, and just so you know, guys, if you're new to this, and hey, first of all, if you're new to this podcast, welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spending your time with me. I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you spending time listening to this podcast. I hope it helps you. Now, when I do these, I will read the global question number, which is we've been doing this, is the 5th solicitation. We've been doing this for years now. I'm going to read you that. I'm going to read you the local question number, which is the question in the current solicitation. And then I'll read the question, and then I'll go with the answer, and we'll keep going until you get tired. All right, cool. So last time, and you can see what question. I know it was last episode because I just told you that, but anytime you want to know how to listen to the listener questions series, you click the metadata tag of listener questions on the website, which you can also search on the website for with the search box on pewscience.com/podcast. And when you click that metadata tag, it'll pull up all the episodes that have that in it. Okay. And so with this one, it's no different. Because I'm discussing listener questions, I will, in fact, tag the episode with that metadata. Last time, we left off on global question 387, local question 96, which was thoughts on was this right? Yeah, thoughts on the iRay RH25, which is a Chinese thermal. And I gave my thoughts on it. I also spoke about that I don't own one. So please, if you're interested in that thermal, I implore you, listen to that on the last listener questions episode to get my full response to that question, okay? Okay, so this time, I'm going to pick up where we left off. We're going to move into question 388. Local question 97 of the 5th solicitation. Oh, excuse me 1 second. I feel like I'm going a mile a minute right now, and it's probably because I am. My heart rate's kind of elevated. I am on pre-workout. You know what I actually had this afternoon? I'm gonna pimp Legion a little bit. I know they're a sponsor. Relax. It's my show. The whey protein. I've been trying a bunch of their different flavors to see what I really liked. And I was pleasantly surprised that my favorite so far is mocha cappuccino. And the reason I'm surprised is not because I don't think I would like that, since I'm obviously a coffee junkie and I love chocolate too, and mocha cappuccino sounds amazing. But the reason I was surprised that I like this one is because my previous decades old protein brand that I always used had a mocha cappuccino flavor that I didn't like that much. And I always went to the double rich chocolate flavor. Well, this, I like the chocolate from Legion, but the mocha cappuccino from Legion is legit. And it's whey isolate. I have always used a blend of concentrate and isolate. Now I'm using isolate, and I have to say my digestion is pretty on point. This mocha cappuccino flavor is on point. I'm a little excited about it. Wanted to mention it. took it today after I worked out. Kind of was reminded of that. And I just wanted to let you know that that's my state of mind right now. I feel very, what would you say, satiated? That's good. I also ate some reckless carbs after my workout because I was hungry, didn't eat enough today. Okay, question 97. Theory on 7.62 by 39 versus 7.62 by 51. Similar behavior, shorter duration, quieter. Thank you for the question, sir or ma'am. This is an excellent question. Just so I can let folks know that might not be familiar with this type of thing here. So let me make this spreadsheet bigger so I can see all my questions so I don't get insane. So 7.62 by 39, that's what you shoot with from an AK most of the time. And then 7.62 by 51, that's a NATO cartridge. And it's one of my favorites. And you can shoot in a 308 gun, things like that. And so this later gentleman is asking, with regard to silencers, I think what they're asking is, 7.62 by 39, 7.62 by 51, one of the cartridges is bigger. Are they going to behave similarly with regard to suppression? I think this is the general question. So I'll address that. So let me think about this. So, you could break it down simply. You could say you got different chamber pressures, obviously, right? I don't know what it is. I think it's around probably a 50% difference. I think it probably I don't know. 7.62 by 51 NATO is probably about 50% higher chamber pressure relative. Don't quote me at exactly 50%, but it's probably around half more, 50% more powerful. Or with regard to pressure, higher pressure. I think, because I think 7.62 by 39 is what is it 40 something KSI? And then 7.62 NATO is 60 something KSI? So yeah, it's 50% higher, right? So you got different dynamics from that. You got, and another thing to think about with the guns that are shooting these cartridges, you got different barrel lengths on them usually, right? You got shorter barrels on the 7.62 by 39. You got longer barrels with 308. You know what I mean? So, if you want to look at the theory here, which is your question, is theory on this? You want to look at the theory. The theory is, you look at the 308 bolt gun data on PEW Science. Bolt gun suppressor data on PEW Science, and maybe if you want to scale that, maybe you say, maybe you guess the quietest 308 silencer, maybe it's the quietest supersonic 7.62 39 silencer too. That would be a guess that it wouldn't necessarily be crazy. You're probably right most of the time. You probably right most of the time. The only time not the only time, but one of the times where you might be wrong and get it wrong is if the designs are super super duper pressure sensitive. And sometimes that happens. I think as we continue to test silencers, I think we're going to see some outliers, in that type of scaling. But I think for the current data set, I don't know. Maybe right now, maybe the relative rankings hold, for that round, relative to 7.62 NATO to 7.62 39 supersonic. I don't know. As long as you keep them both supersonic. I think if you go subsonic, all bets are off. I don't think you can compare it at all like that. That is, I don't think you can compare the current 308 data to the subsonic. I think you'd be better off comparing subsonic 300 blackout to subsonic 7.62 by 39, frankly. And then if you have, that's another thing. If you have a subsonic 308 and you have a really long barrel, don't think this. Okay, I'm going to make a public service announcement right now. I know. First of all, sir, thank you for your question. I know I'm going off track now, but I think I answered it. I'm going to use this opportunity to make a public service announcement. If you think that 8-inch 300 blackout and 16-inch and 300 blackout, both subsonic, are going to be the same, you are wrong. And the reason is because the pressures are different, and there's different unburnt powder, and silencers don't all perform the same way like that. So the reason we tested shorter barrels, it's harder. Okay, the 8-inch 300 blackout barrel in the bolt gun we test, it's not the shortest we ever used, but it's definitely shorter than 16. You test a 16-inch barrel 300 blackout subsonic setup, and you don't need a lot of silencer to make that quiet. You take an 8-inch subsonic 300 blackout, it's a different animal. They're both subsonic. It doesn't matter. It's harder. Keep that in mind. Okay, we've had some things happen technically where people misunderstand that. We've said this. I've said this again and again. I know there's a lot of new listeners. Some of you may have forgotten this. I want to reiterate it. I hate that word, reiterate. I want to iterate what I said before. I guess maybe because I've said it many, many times, I say reiterate. I'm repeating myself multiple times. I hope that you remember that for the future. Okay. Thank you for the question. I think that's really great. Sparked a lot of discussion. It's awesome. Global question 389, local question 98. Do you ever think about where we would be if silencers weren't added to the NFA in 1934? Let me get a drink of water. It's like one of these I need, let me get a shot of bourbon. It's like, do I ever think about what it would be like to be completely free and not stressed at all? Do you ever have dreams, Jay? Do they ever disappear? No, I do. Just kidding. I do actually. Do you ever not want to have real life happen? No. It's like he does drugs. No. I do actually think about what would happen if silencers weren't regulated. I guess is your question. Or that's funny. You asked that. I don't know. Let's brainstorm. Why? It's your fantasy. Do you ever, you think about if they weren't added to the NFA, what? What does that mean? Do you think they would be still classified as firearms, like Title I? Or they just wouldn't be Title II? Which means not Gun Control Act regulated, but NFA regulated. Would it be are you saying do I ever think about if they're not regulated at all? Let's go with that. Why not? It's your fantasy again. I mean, I think about it. I think here's one thing. I think about how we wouldn't have silencer shop. That wouldn't exist, right? Why would it need to? We wouldn't have the ASA, right? Why would that exist? You wouldn't need it, right? It wouldn't exist. You're all pondering, oh my God, what happens if the NFA gets abolished? Oh my God, right? Who really wants the NFA gone? Oh my God. Don't think that too hard. Don't think too hard. No, I'm kidding, half kidding. I think, we probably wouldn't have tons of things that exist right now. Would PEW Science be here? I don't know. Probably not. Not because I don't think PEW Science would be useful, probably because I wouldn't have the motivation, because I would have figured out a long time ago that silencers were allowed. I wouldn't have to figure it out for myself, right? Because there's a huge weight. It's a whole problem. It's a big problem for all of you. So I created PEW Science so that we didn't have to deal with that BS anymore, right? Well, now, if in our fantasy here of the NFA not existing, well, maybe PEW Science wouldn't be here, or wouldn't be here in the same form. You're changing the world, right? It's oh, what if you killed Hitler? What would happen? You know what I mean? It's it's something that didn't happen. So you're well, it's hard to say. I think, if you look at it on a large scale, I think silencers would probably be on most weapons. I think, if they were never regulated like that, maybe they'd be on most weapons. Maybe, I was also thinking maybe most of the technical problems people have been trying to solve in the silencer game, maybe those would have already been solved, because they've been solved in a lot of problems have been solved in other industries. So I think that the firearm and silencer industry is archaic. And I know a lot of people don't like that opinion, but hey, that's what I think. And I think and I think one of the reasons it's due to ridiculous regulation. We've talked about this many times on this podcast before, how we don't want professional standards, because the more regulation we have, it gives way to the regulation we don't want for actually owning the items, and everyone's scared and all that stuff. So I think it's a problem. I think, in Europe, I think you see silencers aren't very advanced in Europe, and a lot of times in Europe, they're not even regulated. And, that is, they are regulated. That's not true. They are regulated, but in some European countries, you can just go buy them over the counter. But yet the technology is not that advanced. So, I think with the U.S. defense posture, what it is, I think if you had everybody in the mainstream culture able to obtain silencers, there would be so many available in the U.S. that I think innovation would happen faster. I think going back to the Europe thing, I think it's easy for some people to use the argument about European market and point to that as an example of unregulated silencers not advancing, but I just don't buy it, man. If innovation was pushed from the U.S., I think others would take note and more things would have happened sooner. So I think if you had no NFA, or rather if you had no silencers in the NFA on the US side, I think you'd get more innovation sooner, and I think it'd be cool. Now that's just a guess, right? Am I wrong? Yeah, probably. But you can't prove it without a time machine, so how do you like them apples, huh? Prove it. You can't. Thanks for the question. That was a great thought exercise, even though it was actually like a little depressing, but hey, what are you going to do? Everything I said was true, probably. Question 390, sub-question 99. Have you thought about creating a dealer tier of $25 to $35 a month to get more dealers involved? It's a very specific question, sir, man. I've actually, I'll answer it. No, thanks I appreciate you asking that. It's an important question. I have thought about offering a lower priced tier than the advanced tier that consumers could use, like if they don't want to use an advanced membership. You know what? I will say this. There are several consumers that have multiple pro level accounts, and because they wanted to contribute more, so they just made multiple accounts. I mean, bless their hearts, dude. They're like, that's like PEW Science Army stuff, dude. They're like PEW Science generals and stuff. There's like all these like generals and like colonels and lieutenants and stuff like out there like doing God's work. God bless you. Seriously, God bless you. And so if anyone's listening that you want to contribute more to PEW Science, join with multiple memberships. That's dope. Now, going back to your question, sir, man, regarding the advanced tier for dealers and distributors and manufacturers, because those folks aren't allowed to join with the lower tiers. And please, don't abuse the system, guys. When I kind of hate when I have to like email you like, hey man, I know you're like selling silencers. Can you like not take advantage and like make it fair for all the other dealers, please? And like, so you guys know that. You can read, man. Don't try to nickel and dime. That's messed up. Yeah, make it fair for everybody. So I think the current cost for the advanced tier for dealers, I think it's more than fair. I think it's pretty economical, honestly, for the benefit they get to their businesses. And I think I'm going to keep it there for a while before raising the price. I don't think I'm going to lower it. No. We've kept our membership fees the same since launch. I think it's been almost 4 years now. It's pretty good, I think, with this inflation. So that's pretty good. I think I could offer a fourth pricing tier, like you're asking, sir, ma'am. But I do want to keep this simple. I don't want to get too complicated here. I think I'm open to that. I don't know how I would differentiate it. So I'm definitely open to any suggestions about this. If you have any suggestions, I will consider them. Please email me at tech@pewscience.com. That's TECH@pewscience.com. Yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts about that. I'm not closed-minded. I just did what I did for a reason. So I do appreciate the question. All right, 1 second. All right. Question 300 today. Question 391, sub-question 100 of the fifth solicitation. God, that's so crazy. Thoughts on the e-brake? All that build up for just a simple question. No, thank you for the question. E-brake. Oh, so these people this later gentleman was asking about the e-brake. That's a marketing name. I wouldn't even call it a trademark. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is a trademark. I don't know. It's a dead air brake. It's an assembly you put on the end of a dead air rifle silencer with holes in it to basically reduce recoil for Magnum rifles. Okay, and so just so you know what an e-brake is, because a lot of people don't know what that is. So this person is asking my thoughts on it. Well, thoughts. Well, I think we've tested silencers with circumferential radial vents, right? We've tested that. We've tested the KGM stuff, right? Remember the R30? I tested it with the normal configuration, and then I took all the screws out of all the vents on the end, and then I tested it again. Yeah, I think I think that the higher the pressure you give this system, when it has vents like that radially, circumferentially, I think the higher the pressure you get, the more recoil benefits you might get. I'm using a lot of maybe and mights, but depends. It's sort of like an anchor brake on the silencer co-harvester, which has also been tested, right? You can put that on the Omega too. You can also take it off the Omega. You can't take it off the harvester. Same principle though, right? Same gas dynamic principle here. So what does that do? Well, I see it as something that's going to potentially make the firearm louder, especially near reflecting surfaces, right? But if you need that recoil reduction, maybe it's worth it. It just depends. But again, I would keep in mind, I dropped my pen. I would keep in mind that it's probably gonna, well, let me say this a different way. I would think you're gonna get the most benefit when you use something like that with high pressure rounds, for obvious reasons. Because if you're going to be producing thrust to counteract something, you need thrust. How are you going to get thrust? Well, you got to force a lot of pressure to the system. How are you going to do that? Well, 300 Win Mag, 300 Norma Mag, Magnum cartridges. You could probably use it with 308, but I bet you use it with a Magnum rifle, it's gonna maybe do a little mo better. Depends on the gun. Depends how heavy your gun is too. What if you're like shooting some ultra lightweight gun? Maybe it helps you better. I don't know, man. It's not. I think it's gonna be louder, and I think that it might help you with recoil. That's what I think. Okay, I hope that helps. Question 392, sub-question 101. Reflex-style silencers. How easy is it to make gas go backward into the reflex chamber? How easy is it to make gas go backward? That's a really good question. I'm going to tell you right now, dude, there's nothing easier in your life. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. The first thing you need to think about right now, and when you're thinking about this, is that you need to think about what happens due to pressure differentials and wave reflections, homie. We talked about this before. You know this. You just don't know you know it. How easy? Let's say you're playing pool in the bar with your buddies, and you're not that drunk. How easy is it to bounce the 8-ball on a pool table off the opposite side to the pocket? You're like it's your turn. You're like, oh my god, I'm gonna get this 8-ball and I'm gonna win. Assuming you're playing 8-ball, and you bank that 8-ball off. How easy is it to bank that ball off the other bumper on the other side of the wall there? Right? How easy is it to, I don't know. You ever play with a balloon and then hold on to the balloon and then let the air out of the balloon while controlling it and have the air blow something blow a piece of paper off your desk? How easy is it to do that? Everybody listening to this has experienced a reflection. You ever yelled inside a small room, it's been really loud? You ever yelled in the middle of a field? It was really quiet comparatively. There's not a lot of reverb. You ever let air out of a tire? Everyone's experienced reflections and pressure differentials, right? You understand what pressure differential does. You understand what a wave reflection is. You've been to the beach. So and you've probably seen an airplane fly overhead and really fast and make a sonic boom. It depends on the geometry of the silencer, man. It might be super easy to utilize the reflex portion of a silencer, or it might be really, really hard. And all that depends on the gun. It depends on the shape of the silencer. It depends on the internal design. So if you're really looking into this, man, to answer your question, it is as easy as you make it, or it's as difficult as you make it, man. It's up to you. You have the power to control your destiny, sir, ma'am, with regard to reflex silencer design. You just going to have to figure that out. There's a gentleman named Ron Allen who does some stuff you might want to check out. You know what I'm saying? He's a smart guy. Hope that helps. Global question 393. Local question 102. Hot take. We will lose J to Big Auto to analyze the suppression rating and Omega on mufflers. That's not how it works. Big if true. No. I'll be here a while. I'm not going to the muffler industry quite yet. Don't you worry about that. No, PEW Science isn't going anywhere but up, my friends. We're going to be here as long as possible. I'm going to characterize silencers for the masses. I want to understand what happens. I want to know when a new design is released, I want to know how it performs. I want to know if old designs get improved and how. I want to know if new designs get released, are they staying the same? And I want objective, consistent, awesome, high fidelity data. I want awesome analysis. I'm doing it. I think it's important. That's why I do it for you. I'm staying right here. You can't get rid of me that easy. Come on, man. Hot take. I'll give you a hot take. That's what she said. Global question 394. Local question 103. What do you think of the Angstat Arms Vanquish suppressor? Gimmick or game changer? Hey, man, put me on the spot here. I have no idea what that is, bro. So what I'm going to do here, so what I have to do, it's like not, he's a boomer. He doesn't know how to use a computer. Oh my God, he's still using a computer. Why is he using an iPad? Well, first of all, I don't use Apple products, sir. Fictitious person making fun of me. Okay, 1 second. He's talking to himself. He's weird. I'm Googling Angstat Arms Vanquish. And I've done this before. Don't be alarmed. I've done this before on listener questions where I literally Google something in real time on the podcast to like see what the hell it is. Angstat Arms Vanquish. Okay. I'm clicking the first link here. I'm on their website, angstatarms.com/vanquish. Funny enough. Vanquish. No baffles, just quiet. Huh. That's the slogan. I just read it from the website. We're going to read. Let's learn together. Okay, I'm going to read the marketing language directly from the website right now. And this is not in any way an attack on Angstat Arms. Honestly, this is the first time I've seen it, but I'll save you guys the trouble, especially if you're driving. I don't want you to Google this and get hurt, so I'm just going to read it to you. Unlike a traditional integrally suppressed barrel, which uses a welded baffle stack stuck to the end of a short barrel, the Vanquish features a fully rifled barrel with 0 baffles. How many times can you use barrel in a sentence, homie? The result is an ultra-quiet suppressor that sounds great with supersonic ammo, requires virtually 0 maintenance, and has no first-round pop. Okay, I'm not going to make fun of whoever wrote this because that's messed up, but they need to use an Oxford comma, first of all. Second of all, I don't know that I can show you this like visually because I don't have a visual element to this podcast, but okay, what I'm looking at right now, I'm going to explain this like in my own way. You listen to what I just said. What this appears to be, what I'm looking at right now on the website, if you go to that angstatarms.com/vanquish, what I see on this website, I see a 9mm AR-15 barrel. I can see the barrel extension with the barrel on the page right here. It is a barrel assembly with a collar forward of the receiver extension. And on the barrel itself, there are holes that are drilled and tapped. They're in a certain sequence, and I don't know for a fact the size. I'm assuming they're all the same size. It would make sense with the set screws they have, but they're all drilled and tapped. And what they appear to be is ports, and then you can plug them depending on how much you actually want to bleed. And as you can imagine, what actually goes over the barrel and screws onto the collar that's forward of the receiver extension is an outer suppressor sleeve. So what this is, I'm going to say it right now. This is an MP5 SD barrel that's ported completely differently, more longitudinally instead of up front, and it's a longer barrel. And when you put the silencer over the barrel, it's only a tube and no baffles. Make sense? So the question, sir, ma'am, was, what do you think of the Angstat Arms Vanquish suppressor, gimmick or game changer? Well, let's keep reading. Now that you know what it is. I'm going to read their description again just so you don't lose that. Unlike a traditionally integrally suppressed barrel which uses a welded baffle stack stuck to the end of the short barrel, the Vanquish features a fully rifled barrel with 0 baffles. So it's it's still a silencer. So then it says turn supers into subs. Traditional suppressors require expensive, heavy-grain subsonic ammo. Okay, so what it's saying is just like an MP5SD, it's bleeding off velocity of ammo to make it slower, so you can reduce the propensity for forming a Mach wave. Instead, forming a pressure wave, which is less energy intensive because you're not creating discontinuity in free air. And then, of course, you would have a less sound pressure level out of the end. So you can make, cheap supersonic ammo subsonic. But of course, because it's slower and lighter, it's really weak. So remember that. That's the MP5SD problem. It says no baffles, no baffle strikes. Well, that's probably true. Virtually zero maintenance. I don't know that that's true. And yeah, that's all they have. So to answer your question, whether or not this works or not, it looks like they have them for, let's see. They have them for 9mm ARs, and they got them for Ruger 1022s. And it says in the future they're going to have it for the CMMG Banshee, which is 9mm, CZ Scorpion, which is 9mm, Ruger carbine, and Ruger precision rimfire. Okay, so what this is, it's an MP5SD without baffles. That's what that is. My thoughts are that I'm sure it probably does work in that it does suppress the gunshot. Because you are venting in a lot of propellant gases that are pushing the bullet, you are going to slow it down. So probably what's going to happen here is you're going to have a double whammy of sound suppression. First off, you're going to be dropping the velocity of the round, and so the Mach wave and because that will lessen and then disappear once you drop below the Mach number in air at your location. When you drop below the Mach number, you're not going to have that discontinuity in air. You're not going to have that sonic crack. So the lower you can get the velocity, that pressure wave also gets lower amplitude too. Because remember what happens. Remember the silencer sound standard, which explains this in I think it's section 2 or something. Or I explained on the website. Remember, when you are moving slower than the speed of sound in the medium, the molecules are able to communicate with each other. Because what is the definition of the speed of sound? The definition of the speed of sound is the speed at which molecules can communicate. When you go faster than the speed of sound, what are you doing? You're breaking down communication. You create a discontinuity. Molecules are no longer able to tap each other on the shoulder. They get surprised. Understand? So you take this thing, you lower your you lower your velocity, you lower your pressure, you take away the sonic crack, you lower the pressure wave amplitude, then what's left? What's the other component to loudness? Well, it's the propellant gases, the high pressure, high gas velocity, the propellant gases, the burning gases that are coming out of the end. Well, what are you doing here? Well, you're venting them all into this gigantic tube volume. And then finally, at the very end, you're left with whatever was left pushing. And I don't know actually the dimensions of this system and when it actually stops, where the tube ends and whatever. But I'd have to really research it more. But suffice to say, I'm sure this is probably quiet. I think the ballistics are probably less than optimal, and I'm not sure it'd be as quiet as a dedicated awesome muzzle silencer. But I'm not. But for the same velocity, if you controlled it. Now, I also noticed that like I said, some of these holes are drilled in tapped. I don't know if they're all tapped, but some of them are at least tapped. You can insert set screws. Why would you put set screws in, plug those ports? Because maybe you don't want to bleed off as much velocity. For example, what if you use subsonic ammo in here and it's already subsonic, and then you shoot it and it becomes even slower and you get a problem or something? Well, maybe they want to bleed off less, so they plug them. So that's a feature. So that's cool. I had never seen this. Thank you for asking the question. I really didn't mean to throw any shade or anything about the website. I just was having fun reading it, the marketing lingo there, and I just had some grammar Nazi fun. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I didn't mean anything by it. Okay. Hope that helps you. I'd be interested in testing one someday. Maybe I'm not really interested in personally. I don't think I'd ever own one of those. But some people like that stuff, and maybe the benefits that they say it has are right for you. Okay. Could be. It could be cool. If any of you have one, let me know, and I'll be happy to hear your experience, and maybe I could talk about it in the next podcast episode. Okay. Thank you for asking that. Let's move on. Question 395, sub-question 104. Suppressors in Canada? Okay. Thank you for the question. If that came from a Canadian, I'm surprised it was such a short question. It's like pretty vague. What do you want to know? Can I put one there? Probably. Is it illegal? Probably. No. I actually don't think it's allowed. I don't think it's allowed to have them there. The more I hear about Canada, man, the more it makes me sad. It makes me sad to know that you folks deal with all this stuff up there, man. I'm sorry. Let me close this Inksta thing. There's like some ad that's like distracting me. Sorry, guys. I mean, yeah, the more I hear about Canada, I'm like, yeah, I feel for you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you have to deal with, I mean, we deal with a lot of stuff here, but you guys really are getting it right on the kisser, aren't you? It's such a beautiful country, Canada, and it has wonderful, wonderful wilderness, has great people. It's just a really awesome country, and every time I go to Canada, and I've been there a few times, I've been there several times. Every time I go, I've enjoyed it every time. More or less, even when I go to a place where they just speak French, I don't really like that place as much, but it's cool. I don't mind it. I mean, they're nice too most of the time, and I like to say, sir, ma'am, I wish you the best in your suppressed small arm endeavors. I am sorry that I am not up to speed on all your firearm laws and their details. I do in fact think that silencers are prohibited there, whether or not that means you can actually not get them. There might be exceptions. There might be special ways, but I don't think the general populace can go just buy them anytime. I think that probably you can't. I think that's difficult. I think if I remember my time correctly on the Seaburn Art podcast, Nathan, bless his heart, he's Canadian. He was explaining to me, I think that it's hard to get them. So, man, I'm sorry. I don't know, and I think there are plenty of people who do know, so maybe we can look that up together and figure it out. If you want to email me, tech@pewscience.com, I'll be happy to help you research that. Okay. Thank you for asking. Question 396, sub-question 105. Can you offer any teasers for how the SIG SLX performs? Is it at least an innovative design? Thank you for the question. Yes, sir, ma'am. I published SIG SLH data already on 300 Blackout Subsonic. This is probably an old question before I did that or something, but yeah. Yeah, so I published, what I chose to do first was publish the SLH data on 300 Blackout Subsonic. And the reason I did that is I do believe that silencer was meant for that cartridge. So I thought it was a very important test to do and analyze and publish. If you look, I believe it's Sound Signature Review 107, right? It's got to be. It's 107. And so if you look at that, you can see it's performed subsonic 300 Blackout. I think if you look into the data, you'll see, and even if you don't believe the suppression rating for some reason, which you should, but if you want to look at the raw waveforms, you can see that gas comes out of the silencer very quickly. I can tell you right now, you're going to notice if you shoot it, it's not very quiet for its size, and that's what the suppression rating shows. You can see it has a pretty high flow rate in the data there. I actually think I spoke about it on the podcast after the article was published, regarding, because you're asking if it's an innovative design. I actually think I spoke about this, and I said it's not extremely innovative at all. I think the internals are very similar to the old SIG silencers, but they changed it so they have coaxial venting at relatively regular points throughout the stack, and then they vent at the distal end. I mean, in that annulus, there's not a lot of geometric features that promote certain mechanisms I would think you would want to use. So I think that conclusion brought us all to think globally that I think we all felt that maybe there's some room for improvement there. When we look in the design envelope, I think that was a global kind of not criticism, but a global postulation. And I think that it really depends what you're looking for in performance. What changes you might make to that system. I think that for SIG's design goals, maybe it achieved what they're looking for. I mean, they obviously released it, So I'm not exactly sure. I haven't. I would love to speak with SIG about that. I haven't. They've never spoken with me about that. So I would be honored to speak with them about it if anyone from SIG is listening. I'd be happy to talk more about this and you guys' design intent if you were to tell me about it. Other than that, that's all I got. Okay. I hope that helps, at least a little bit. The SLX is different, but can't see it radically different, but we'll see. Okay, we'll have to see how that goes. All right, we'll do, how are we doing on time? 49 minutes, almost 50 minutes? Okay, we got more to talk about, so let's, we'll do one more. All right, global question 397, local question 106 of the 5th solicitation. Any plans for an FRP ranking? It was talked about briefly on a podcast episode a while back. Okay, 1 second. I think I'm running out of gas, guys. I need dinner. It's one of those weeks. It's only Tuesday, so that's cool. FRP ranking. So that's first round pop for those of you new to that acronym. Thank you for the question. I've spoken about it. It's funny how much first round pop comes up behind the scenes. Well, both in articles and in client discussions for certain reasons. It's important. People forget it's really important in certain regimes like subsonic 3 and blackout. It's important. You know, when you talk about an FRP ranking, I mean, I think my answer is maybe, and here's why. Here's why I'm not saying yes right now. The issue of first round pop is way more complex than it seems to you at first glance, okay? Or should I say the issue of like evaluating FRP. So what you need to realize is that you would actually need more than one shot to test FRP. So what does that mean? That means maybe you would need to shoot the silencer once 5 times, but then purge it with air before each time. But you would have to but you still have to have other shots relative to the first shot. So maybe you need 5 5-shot tests. So now you need to shoot the thing 25 times to get that FRP rating, right? And now guess what? Now you need to manage the temperature and atmosphere every time too, right? So you understand. So the answer is yes, we could do that. Definitely could. You can do a lot of things with it. You can do anything you want with enough time and money. I can tell you that right now. Anything except move time backward, and we're even working on that. So, not necessarily, but kind of. It's just more work. So maybe it's something we do later, but it's a lot of work. And let me just nip this in the bud right now. If you're asking if we can use existing data to make an FRP rating, I don't think we should do that because I don't think we have enough data to do that. And I think that we risk making a ranking or a rating that may not be as high fidelity. As it stands, I think the suppression rating is solid and practical. It's a good balance. It incorporates first round pop. I know that sometimes I talk about a silencer having severe first round pop because it does. I don't know that creating a numerical metric from that. I think you need to do more testing because the numerical metric has a little scatter. But knowing that it's way far off from the other shots is something I can tell you. But knowing, you know what I mean? So I have a coarse way of describing it now, which I think is appropriate for the fidelity of the sample size. If we want to reduce the coarseness and become more fine in the gradation of judging for it to create a metric, we need to then increase sample size. Understand? So it's a give and take. It's a balance. And right now, first round pop is very important for the suppression rating because it fits directly into the average, and the average isn't that many shots, so FRP doesn't get diluted. Okay. I'm sorry, the suppression rating doesn't get diluted. And it's enough shots so the FRP is not the most important. So I think 5 is a good balance. That's what we're doing. We do 6 shots on semi-autos, but we do not consider the 6th shot in the analysis. It's only there to prove that the data is real. Okay, so and to ensure that shot 5 is just like shot 4 in that the bolt closing signatures are the same because it doesn't lock back or whatever, depending on the gun. Just relax. Okay, cool. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna highlight that row, and we're gonna leave off. So that's 397 questions we answered. We are almost to 400 questions total answered. That's crazy time. That's crazy, dude. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna close our spreadsheet. We are finished with that topic. I hope you guys had fun with that. I had fun with that. I learned a lot. I never would have seen that Inkdstat Arms thing if you wouldn't asked me that, so that's cool. All right, let's move into topic 2 at a time of 54 minutes and 41 seconds. Okay, New sound signature review this week. That's right. You bet, man. I've been blowing and going here, and the database is growing. The performance limits are being tested here. It's pretty. If you're into silencers, man, or you're just getting into silencers, I am glad you found this. You have joined at the right time, fam, La Familia. Seriously, if you're just now getting into silencers, this is wild, dude. Because I think this week this is gonna be interesting. I think is it gonna be controversial? Yeah, I think in the regime of interest. Yeah. I think let me say this. Are you guys anticipating this one? No, you are not. I guarantee that. Are there some interesting things of note that we will discuss? Yes, I think so. There are in fact some research interests here in this one. And I think there are some physical attributes of the silencer that we should discuss this week after this data. I think we're going to have some good discussions when this data is dropped next week, or this week. I mean, it's going to be released this week. I think we're going to have good discussions when I release it. I think we're going to have good discussions leading up to the next episode in which I do the technical discussion. I think it's going to be cool. I think this is one of those reviews where I think it's going to help more people than you think at first glance. And it's probably also one of those reviews that might be controversial because every time something happens that's a little different, I think people get a little excited in a way. I welcome the excitement. I think it's good. I love to see different players in the silencer market do different stuff. I love to see how far the effort has grown. I like to see different manufacturers being showcased. Like, I'm talking all kinds of manufacturers. I want to see what they're capable of. I think you do too. I want to see what people are capable of doing with certain technologies, even if it's something you've seen before. I think that's cool. It gives a lot of people a lot of just good information about what's possible, what's not. So yeah, I think it's cool, man. I think I enjoy this type of thing. So yeah, I'd ask that you please sit back, be patient, and be on alert for the drop. It's like that. You see that meme where you got those guys and they're like DJs, and like DJs will literally put anything before the drop, and like they say some crazy stuff. I'll have to post that meme. It's hilarious. No, but do make sure you're signed up for the newsletter at pewscience.com. That is the best and fastest way to be notified when a sound signature review is published. That's right. It is the first line of notification. It goes out before any social media. So please sign up. It's free. Newsletter's free. It only gets sent out when reviews are published. I'm not going to spam you. I don't use it for anything. I literally only use it when I publish something. So, yeah, it's all it's for. So if you want to stay in the know, that's the ticket. So I think this one will be nice to see. Maybe it's a palate cleanser for some of you. Maybe not. Maybe it's one you've been waiting for. You never know. I guarantee you some of you have been waiting for it, but you don't even know you are. We'll see how it goes. Stay tuned. Okay, hope that was ominous enough. He's like, he's just a tease. It is true, I am. Topic 3 at a time of 58 minutes and 25 seconds. All right. This is a big one here. Big thanks to everyone who's supporting this, you listening. Those of you who are not, that can't hear this, if you see them in the hallway, say hi. No, all you consumers, it's big. It's a research cooperative, and the fact that it's working, and we do this in other industries in a more formal way, and doing it in this semi-formal way with the whole public is insane, and the fact that it's working is crazy. And so when you look at getting the corporate members, that's wild. And so I want to give a big welcome to the 4 new corporate members, okay? And we'll do that right now. But before that, I want to say again, all the consumers supporting this, dude, I'm telling you, the effort's working exactly how I hoped it would, which is obviously pretty nice. But there's certain things I like about it that I'm proud that worked. It's not that expensive, right? It's not that expensive for folks. And even though, and I'm not saying it's free and it's not like a big deal, but I'm saying it's not that expensive, and nonetheless, folks still feel like they have skin in the game, which you do, or they do, right? And I like that, and I like that folks know this helps, even though it's a small contribution, okay? So I want you all to know that no matter how small it is, even if you don't join and maybe you just like donate a little bit every time, I want you to know that no matter how small that is, it does help. Okay, and each and every one of you is helping. So I don't want you to ever think that like what you're doing is not helping, because it is. It's awesome, and I would not do it without you. So you just know, I mean that. I'm serious as a heart attack when I say that. All right. So knowing that, just with that, prefacing this with that, I want to tell you, when a business joins, that's super crazy awesome, because it helps so much. And not only does it help so much, and that's one of the tremendous parts of it. It's also there's another level to this, and what it does is it shows how far the effort's grown, and it shows how many people it's helping, and it shows the potential to help even more people. That's where it's pretty crazy, because it's compounding a value. Understand? So right now, let's look at the 4 new corporate supporters of PEW Science. Okay, first, Champion Firearms out of College Station, Texas. Oh my God, it's crazy. No, but I know some of you know this. Some of you might not know this. I got my engineering degrees from Texas A&M in College Station, and Champion Firearms. They're an indoor range. When I was there, I don't know if this is still the case. I haven't been back there in a minute, but I think like when I was there, they were next to a Starbucks, dude. And I did a lot of handgun shooting at that range. I shot the old SIG P226, baby, all the time, and that was a long time ago, and that was a very long time ago. I actually, Champion Firearms, they had been open before I went to school there, but they weren't there for that long, and I think they opened in '93, and so it's a good place. And so anyway, they reached out, they joined, here we are. And for me, I just really want to say, and I know this is sappy maybe, but it's a pretty surreal experience for me, because I didn't think that after graduating engineering school and going and doing all the stuff I've done all over the world and yada yada, that I would start something like PEW Science, and then the very range where I shot pistol in college would support the effort that I created. And that to me is pretty crazy. I don't think it's fully set in yet. I'm still processing that. So I would say if you're in College Station, or you see those folks in the wild or online or wherever, I think they're on Instagram. So go say hi, man. That's dope. Like that's just like part of the dream come true of this PEW Science thing. I'm tickled pink about that. That's major props, major super based. We didn't have that word when I went to school. He's a boomer. No, I'm not. But we didn't say based. I mean, no one. But I guarantee you, if I was there now, that I would say that they're super based. All right. Next up, next corporate supporter, PTR. Is that crazy, dude? Isn't that crazy? PTR Industries. They make the HK MP5 clones and stuff. The U.S. made roller delayed blowback clone guns, and then not just MP5s, dude. They're making all the cartridges. I don't know, dude. It's pretty crazy. Not only that, they make it in house. I'm not saying they're making HK quality. I mean, and I don't think PTR is gonna freaking get mad at me for it's not an HK, but it's U.S. made and it's in house, dude. And they're machining actual parts, not just like they're not just getting some German part guns and like building them and like bending some receiver flats they found. These guys are like they're like machining parts and making the guns. That's wild to me. So when I saw they joined, I was like, that is crazy. It's a pleasant surprise. It's a big deal. U.S. manufacturing like that, it's a big deal to me. So pleasant surprise that they joined the effort. I think it's awesome. I am really looking forward to speaking with them about this effort. I'm looking forward to speaking with them about their company, about what they're doing right now, what they're coming up with. I'm psyched. So if you see PTR like anywhere, tell them they're based, and tell them that supporting PEW Science with genuine motivation to do so is super based. And we're happy to have that. Like I said based to my wife the other day. We were talking to like, my wife said it to me. She's like, "Oh, that's so based." And I looked at her. I was like, "Oh my God, I love you so much." It's so crazy. Oh, I'm tickled. Next up, guess what? You guys are going to lose your minds. You know who the next corporate supporter is at PEW Science? The Cody Firearms Museum. What in tarnation? Dude, kind of wild. I've been speaking with them a while too. They're not even that big, but the collection they have is super crazy. It's amazing. I haven't even been to their museum yet. I think my wife's been there. I haven't been there. I'm like, what the heck, dude? I'm excited to go. It's a pretty big collection. They got a lot of historical arms, and I am so dang honored that they find value in the effort and they want to support. You know what? And this is also kind of crazy. There are a couple of things that PEW Science and the museum hope to work together on. We're talking, and so those things, I don't know. As they develop, I will keep you informed, my friends. Okay, so make sure to check them out. They got an Instagram account and everything. So Cody Firearms or whatever it is, you'll find them out. But go check them out. Give them a shout out. It's crazy. Now, I will say, I got one more. Lastly, but certainly not leastly, last but not least, a big PEW Science welcome to Battle Hawk Armory. I know. It's crazy. They're an online dealer. They got a storefront, but they're an online dealer of firearms. They sell guns and ammos, silencers. They sell silencer accessories. You can go on their website and buy like pistons and adapters for your silencers and stuff like that, muzzle devices, if you're into that. I mean, it's cool. I did not know them. They reached out to me. And here we are, dude. I look forward to getting to know these folks. They are in Iowa, kind of far from me, but if you're local to them, if you buy a gun there, you can go pick it up there if you order online, which is cool. I will say, and this goes for all the dealers specifically, I mean, it's awesome, obviously, when museums and manufacturers join. That's ridiculous. I love it so much. I'm so honored. But dealers specifically, it's a huge thing when dealers join. And I've been told every dealer that joins, I've been told they see the value. They use the information directly to help their customers, which is the name of the game. Okay, it's a win-win for everybody. So if you see those folks around, give them some love. These Battle Hawk Armory dudes, that's wild. Help them grow, man. Give them shout-outs. Like they're on Instagram. So if you're into that, easy to get a hold of. So, okay, I mean, I know this is getting sappy, so I don't want to give any more for the love fest here, but what I wanted to do by talking about this, I wanted to highlight all these companies. I think it's a big deal. If you go to pewscience.com/supporters, which can also be accessed from the services and support menu on the website, you're going to see a list of all the corporate supporters, and you're going to see their logos. Okay. And what I did is I hyperlinked the logos. So when you can click them and go to the website of each respective supporter. Okay. Almost all of the folks on there support PEW Science for great reasons, okay? And I think displaying them, I think it helps folks know who in the industry is paying attention to the research. I think it helps everyone know who's valuing it, and I think that's really cool. And I am not putting the logos on there to advertise the companies. I am putting them on there so you know who to thank. Because I would like each of you, when you have time, to do me that favor of thanking each and every one of those companies for supporting PEW Science. It means the world to me that they do. It means the world to me that you listen to this podcast, and it means the world to me that everyone supports it. So please do me that favor. Thank all those people. It would be awesome. Okay. I can't say it enough. All right. So that's all the time I have for today. Please stay tuned this week for more data and analysis. I think it'll be cool. I think it's Thursday. I think Thursday is when I'm going to publish that. Okay, I've scheduled that. So please buckle up. Be ready. Be ready for anything. No, and of course, and I do take this seriously. Please stay cool out there. It's super hot in a lot of parts of the country. So make sure you're hydrating. Plenty of electrolytes and fluids, and wear your sunscreen. Okay, skin cancer is no joke. All right. Have a great rest of your week. Stay tuned for the data, and I will speak with you folks again soon. All right. Bye.